Well, joining us now to talk about what Sir Bruce's exit means for the programme is the showbiz journalist Neil Sean, and in our London studio is Karen Hardy, who is of course one of the show's former professional dancers. Karen, let me come to you first of all. Other side. Tell us a bit about what Sir Bruce is
choreography.
Like.
That's
I know that.
Choreography.
I should have done that much more sophisticatedly. Good morning, Karen. Tell us a bit about what Sir Bruce is like. I know you obviously worked with him on the show, so was he fun to work with?
He's a legend in his own right. I mean, one of the greatest memories for me has to be that awful moment when Mark Ramprakash and I got tangled up in our microphones during that salsa moment. TV stopped, the band was still going, it was an absolute disaster. On came Bruce, saved the day, started to dance around with one of the production crew, and it was just a magical moment. But for Mark and I, we were absolutely distraught, and afterwards we went back to Bruce's dressing room and there was all sorts going on outside his room, and we said, could we just go and speak to Bruce? Went in and saw him, and we said, Bruce, we are so sorry for what happened, we're really embarrassed and upset for you also. And he said, Karen, I live for those moments. I live for those live moments on TV. And those words have always stuck with me, because that is what Bruce is. He's last of our great legends of entertainment. He's all singing, all dancing, comedian, and he empathizes with the world of entertainment, and he's been there and done it. There's just nothing that Bruce hasn't experienced, and a very, very special man to be losing from the show.
Yeah, and Sean, for all those reasons, that makes him tricky to follow, doesn't it? And he's so intrinsic to that show.
Well, the thing is, Charlie, what you've got to remember is that Bruce is an old-style entertainer, and I think the effect will be felt more deeply as the new series takes on, because whatever people say, he makes jokes, doesn't he, stuff about Dodry I'm not, and we know he forgets the auto cue and all those sort of things, but actually people love that. And, Bruce comes from a variety background, the big Moss Empire circuit, when he reacted from audiences. And you know yourself, Charlie, you've been on the show, you see the way he warms the audience up before they start. That if they could film that, it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant.
There's a funny thing, Neil, that goes on here, though, isn't it? Because sometimes during the last season or two, when he's had the odd day off and he had a few, and people were saying, well, maybe he shouldn't be doing it anymore. There was sort of, in the press, there was talk about that. And now that, of course, he said he's leaving, everyone's going, oh, no.
Well, I loathe TV critics, because the bottom line is, as Karen will testify, can you do it? If you can't do it, shut up. It's like your job, Why do they have a go? And I think when somebody's had that long career that Bruce has got, and he's very clever, because my feeling is this, you've got to remember that Bruce always bows out of shows just at the right time. He left, The Price is Right, Play Your Cards Right, even the Generation Game for the wonderful Bill Cotton, he left just at the right time. The BBC very cleverly reinvented it with Larry Grayson, but it was never at that pinnacle that we remember as kids, when Saturday nights were Bruce Forsyth, basically.
Yeah, it's interesting you make that point about him leaving at the right time. Karen, have you spoken to Sir Bruce recently? Has he said anything to you about how he's feeling?
Yeah, I sent a message last night by text just to say I'm deeply saddened to hear the news, and this is a tribute to what they are like, him and Winnie. I'm sure that they're being bombarded with texts, but they just took a moment to answer and saying, he's feeling great, he's all happy, and they just took time out to answer that text message. But that's the true professional that they are, and that Bruce is. And I think you're right there, though, that someone as professional and as experienced as Bruce is, there is a time when you look at yourself and you go, it's time to bow out, and you always go out on top. That's the place to do it.
Karen, can I just ask, the show without Bruce, is that a goer?
Oh, who's going to replace him? I have no idea. I will be saddened not to see him there. Everyone's saying, who do you think, who do you think? I've got my thoughts on someone like John Barrowman, because he's got experience in song and dance, and I like that. I know there's probably talk of lots of comedians taking the place. I love the idea. It's quite unique with our beautiful Tess and Claudia.
Well, can I just ask...
I think they're amazing on there.
Neil, very quickly. Thank you, Karen, very much. Have you got a couple of names, just very quickly?
Yeah, I think Adam Garcia, gorgeous, brilliant dancer, and of course, could do it. Whereas I think if you give it to another TV presenter, but hey, why not? Why not throw the mix up completely and bring another person in and get a brand new presenting team? Maybe Tess has to go too.
All right. Neil, thank you. Karen, thank you very much as well.
Strong words there.
We'll have the headlines coming up in just a moment.